it's time for us to do some actual sailing on SunnyRedemption Sailing, your bi-weekly voyage for PS3 gaming news. As the Call of Duty tax falls for Game Pass.
Yeah.
$22.99. I would have liked a little bit more of a discount back to $20, but it's still good.
Yeah, I was very surprised that the price went that much lower, because I remember when we were talking about it last time, I think a couple weeks ago, when it was still just rumored that they might do that, cut out Call of Duty, I was kind of against it, because I'm like, well, how much can that really cut off the price? If it's just going to bring it down $1 or $2, you know, what's the point? But I think I've definitely changed my tune on it based on the fact that it's actually cutting off a decent chunk, like $7, right? Like that's...
Yeah, that actually also gives me a bit more insight into how they were thinking they were going to make money with this. Basically, they were hoping that you would subscribe all year, and the $7, it would take 10 months to break even, to get $70 from that, and then another couple months of profit. So they were hoping that people would play all year, but populations have been inconsistent because the games have been inconsistent. Trying to rush these out every year has not worked in terms of getting people engaged to Game Pass. And it might have worked anyway if there were any different economic times. I think video game companies are finally realizing that they can't just expect the hardcore to carry in terms of like spending power forever. And so they're trying to drum up business by cutting prices. That's how that works. Is demand is falling, and that's finally catching up with reality.
The Call of Duty thing makes sense now that I know in hindsight, like, okay, it actually lets them chop off $7 from that highest tier. Like, that's pretty significant, and I wouldn't want them... I really hope they don't go carving up the tiers too much and make it too complicated, but, like, I think Call of Duty is a special case where, like, okay, they were able to get the price down pretty significantly with that one value loss, whatever. It's like, okay, now they have to have an asterisk on all their advertising about, like, oh, it includes all first-party games except Call of Duty, and that's kind of annoying for them, probably, but the fact that, like, I'm okay with Call of Duty being chopped off as sort of a special case because it is just its own monster. I wouldn't want to see them adding more asterisks to it, you know, like, oh, never mind, we're not including Forza in here anymore. Or,
yeah, that would not be
bring
good.
the price down another $2 and take Forza out. You know, I don't want them to start getting really clever with that. I think Call of Duty getting taken out and getting the price down was probably the right move in hindsight, and I think they should leave it there. And eventually the price will probably go up, you know, creep up again, but, like, the way that it went up so abruptly was just like, why do that to yourself? Even with whatever value they've added, like, I wonder how long the Riot Games stuff is supposed to last, because that's, like, a huge... I'm sure that was not cheap for them to put in. And, like, the Fortnite stuff, especially now, getting those battle passes for free is also definitely not cheap. So, I wonder, like, I would be okay with them kind of scaling back that side of Game Pass, Ubisoft Classic stuff.
I think the reason why they didn't is because that's basically free money from other companies for promotion.
Yeah, and it is like a symbiotic thing, right? Because I've found myself playing way more Fortnite, just Fortnite Festival, and actually spending real money in it since getting those battle passes for free. So, like, I'm sure to some extent it does still make business sense. It's just like, I don't know, like, if they were able to, like, take that stuff back out whenever this initial contract for it is done, however long that is.
Yeah, that's when you would want to do that.
Clearly, like, with the EA Play stuff, that stuff's been in there since, like, what, 2018 at this point? Like, they've probably
pretty close to that, yeah.
That a few times. So, I guess, like, that must be working for both of them if they're still willing to have that in there 8 years later. I wonder if the same will be true for the more recent stuff they've added with Fortnite Crew and the Riot stuff a few years ago. The Riot stuff's been around long enough that maybe even that's been renegotiated once or twice.
Yeah, I could see that.
The Valorant heroes and all the League of Legends heroes that's a lot of money. That's like a huge value add if you play those games.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you play those games, and if
Yeah,
they're
and
a
that's
draw
the thing where like
for Game Pass.
yeah, it's like if you play those games, it's like, well, I have played those games. It didn't really get me to like play them that much more. I mean,
Yeah.
Fortnite, yes, but not the Riot stuff. So I wonder like what the actual like I wonder what the business stuff on the back end works out to for that.
I think it works out to what elements drew Game Pass subscriptions and covered the costs of including those things in there. I personally would have preferred the third-party stuff that I didn't really use all that much being taken out before Call of Duty for reasons I'll explain in a bit. But I understand why they took out Call of Duty first, in order to not anger your third-party partners before the contracts are up. And also, because it is the most expensive in value add, and because, well, lost sales. Other games on Xbox first party, they were definitely willing to have those lost sales because they did drive subscription growth, but eventually that plateaued, and they hoped that Call of Duty would be a shot in the arm for that. And, well, I'm sure a non-zero number of people, including me, were happy to not pay $70 a year for Call of Duty's annualized slop. But not enough people who were new, who hadn't been buying this already, started it for the first time because of Game Pass. Instead, what appears to have happened is that, again, a lot of people like me were relieved not to have to pay the Call of Duty tax of $70 a year, and then lost money for them. So that was cannibalizing writ large, for sure. The main thing that's annoying for me is that this makes it unlikely that the old Call of Duties will be included.
I think around when they made this announcement, they did add the 2019 Modern Warfare reboot, at least. They were slowly working their way backwards, and so, like, I wonder if they will still add any of those old ones. I kind of hope so, because they are still, remember, they are still eventually adding Call of Duty to Game Pass. It's just not going to be day one. It's going to be a year later.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not as if Call of Duty will never be on Game Pass ever again. It's just not going to be day and date. So I don't think that would preclude them. Like, those all Call of Duties, the way they've been trickling them out, like every, I don't know, it feels like it's every 3 to 6 months they add another one in. Like, I feel like they still have those in their back pocket. Like, oh, these are pretty evergreen games that people will always want to go back to. And we can, pad out our Game Pass lineup for the month if we want to. The next one would be like what? Black Ops 4, I guess. It's very Nintendo style, just like, oh, we can get away with just having, one title every few months on our subscription service. It sucks, but after I remember they put Modern Warfare 3, the new one, on, and then it was like a few months before Modern Warfare 2 popped up, and so, like, they're not in any rush. I was hoping it would be just a blitz of just, here's all of them, but clearly they want to trickle them.
And I mean, some of those old ones are still $60.
60 digital, I mean, like, the 360 ones at least are pretty cheap if you want to go physical, though, so.
Well, many people have not this generation.
Yeah.
Because they were lured in by the cheaper price and felt like the performance was enough and didn't buy physical games. And I mean, I guess why would they if they're just looking for a cheap console and Game Pass combo? But now those are not as cheap. Even with the Game Pass cut, I don't expect hardware prices to fall much, except in limited time sales, because of the RAM crisis that's ruining everything. It's annoying because I really liked having that guaranteed co-op capability with you, but, at least that does mean we can go back to the older ones that are better anyway, and then wait until things are polished a year later. And again, I would have liked a smidge of a larger price cut for that, but if because 22.99 is just so odd. It doesn't scream like buy me now, impulse. I don't know.
Yeah, but it kind of fits in like if they're comparing themselves to Netflix, like I think
Oh yeah,
the highest tier of Netflix is in the 20s at this point. So
that reminds me.
I don't think it's unfavorable compared to that.
That reminds me. Unfortunately, the tiers are going to get more complicated because there's still that rumored Trident that's just really old first-party games
Yeah.
for like $4.99 with limited cloud gaming included. Which, like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, so that's the stuff I don't really want to see them do, but like if they just segment it more and keep the prices relatively the same, I'm not too bothered by it. Like, I think that's just kind of what streaming services have been leaning towards, and just subscriptions is the sort of a la carte model. I subscribed to Peacock for 30 days because there was a trial, and I was like, oh, and there's like a zillion add-ons for Peacock now because I haven't subscribed to it for a while. And I'm like, oh, you can just, and it's like, okay, well, I guess that's one way people could go. And so I think that's probably what they're looking towards. If they can decouple some of those like third-party things and make them like premium add-ons, maybe with a slight discount since you're already a Game Pass subscriber, maybe that's what they'd be going for. I'd probably still subscribe to some of that stuff. Like I've actually found a lot of value in like Fortnite Crew, having that as part of the subscription I'm already paying for. Because it does give you, they actually just nerfed it, but it gives you a decent amount of V-Bucks per month and all the battle passes, so it's like, it's already part of my subscription. I'm not gonna like, if my subscription stays the same and I just have to like buy Fortnite Crew separately, I'd be fine with that.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Of course, your comparison to streaming services reminds me that they are planning on doing a bundle with Netflix, and so that's one solution there is to try and bundle with other things because everything is now competing with everything for attention. Theatrical movies are competing with TikTok, and video games are competing with going outside. So, like, people just don't have as much leisure time anymore, and are, well, cutting back. So, I guess we'll see what the price is. Like, if it's Netflix with ads plus Trident or something like that, then that's a little less appealing. But I could see that being a really good value if a year of Game Pass Ultimate is included with a year of Netflix or something like that. I don't really know how the economics of that work because the bundle hasn't been announced and it's just a rumor. But it is interesting to see them reimagining the economics here because they did not get 100 million subscribers or however many they were thinking. Things haven't really gone down either, but, well, now they are also realizing that they have to at least give a sop towards the hardware folks again. The people who are on Xbox consoles and have felt neglected for a few years. Because still, 80+% of Game Pass subscribers are on console. Because that's where it makes the most sense.
Yeah, like Game Pass for PC, there's a lot more competition there, and a lot more just like, well, I could pay for this, but I could buy it on Steam. But console users, there's not as much there because you're just looking at like, well, I'm buying this on this console anyways, I might as well just subscribe for a month or two.
And this is kind of the replacement for the old console model of cheap hardware but expensive games. It's now expensive hardware but cheap subscriptions. That was the thought anyway. And then that changed, and now they're trying to make that change back. And speaking of changes that people didn't like, oh my god. What was going on with that 30-day timer on PlayStation? It seems like it was an accident, but that they also clearly had that capability designed, so they were probably going to deploy it at some point.
It's not surprising to me that they would build in that capability for some sort of like future, like, or like the theoretical capability to do stuff like that. It's just like, I don't know. I guess something went awry there, and they did at least confirm like, hey, it's a one-time check for stuff after March 2026 or whatever. So it's like it, that sucks, but it's not nearly as egregious as what it seemed like it was.
Well, basically, it seems like how it's always worked, just a little bit more confusing, and with an arbitrary time frame. Just like, okay, you need to sign into the internet once to check that you own the digital game, and then you get to have the offline license.
I certainly can't blame people for like being upset about it. It's just like, this is kind of that's kind of the devil's bargain with digital games. It's like they're always going to have control over that DRM. So, like,
or software in general.
I think people raising concerns about like, oh, this is like a preservation issue. It's like, well, console gaming as a whole is a preservation issue because the companies are never going to care that much to preserve it. It's always going to be the, people in the gray areas who are going to preserve that stuff. And you can see that with how the Nintendo shutdowns went, where people were very concerned about it, but it's like, no, people backed up everything. People found
including
ways.
The completionist who completed the entire 3DS library. That was the last video from him that I liked before he turned full villain with the fake charity stuff. I'm like, well, at least you donated the entire 3DS library that you bought legally right before the shutdown.
Exactly.
So that kind of thing will be a thing, sure. I guess it's just that we really need movements like Stop Killing Games to put pressure on things. Otherwise, nothing will change.
Yeah, they've at least bullied Ubisoft at least, because I don't know if you saw that, but they've like patched in a pretty functional offline mode into the crew too.
Yes, I did see that.
Shut that down someday.
By the way, I'm at a Blue Mermaid statue.
Oh, nice. I just found the treasure, so I'm just gonna bring that to the ship real quick.
I got it. Never mind. That's okay. 3 of them. 3 Blue Mermaid gems. Anyway, sorry, you were saying?
Yeah. So the campaign against Ubisoft for what they did with the Crew 1 was pretty effective, it seems like. So, and I imagine they'll probably, I think they might have said even like when the Crew Motorfest was coming out or when an update was coming out, like, hey, we've already kind of thought ahead about how we'll do an offline mode for this. So, like at least they've gotten one company to like do something, and maybe some other companies are thinking more actively about it, because it sucks when a game just like isn't functional. Like I bought just a couple months ago, I bought Dead or Alive 5 on disc on 360. I was like, oh, this will be fun to own. I'll just boot it up and play it a little bit. It was like very cheap, like $4. I booted it up, and it's like could not connect to server. The game just like doesn't work anymore.
Dang.
Yeah. So it's not just it's not just newer games that are running this. Like, there are definitely older games like that, where that game had a fully functional offline mode, and it does have an Xbox One version that still works and everything, but it's like, that older version's just unplayable.
Like,
now.
does it still need to connect to the servers on the Xbox One version? If so, then that's...
I would imagine.
Then that's a dead game walking. That's just any time that there's a server thing.
So that game's from, like, the mid-2010s, so... it's only, I don't know when the 360 servers shut down. They probably weren't seeing much use, before they shut down, but still just like, there are plenty of owners of that game who just cannot play it on that version anymore.
Well, speaking of offline game preservation and Ubisoft, I am so hyped for Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. I'm definitely getting it. If I don't have Ubisoft Plus by then, I'll probably get a month of that. I'm not sure this game is worth $40, and it would be nice if there was some sort of a discount for previous owners of Black Flag, but I can see why they didn't do that. The demand is going to be there. People want a return to the game as it was in their heads, anyway, with much improved combat. It seems like a really open world underwater stuff sounds really cool, and what I hope will be the ability to skip or minimize mandatory stealth sections, because I got stuck in my tracks years and years ago on the original version that came with my Xbox One as part of the Unity bundle. So I had been playing this game for a long time and really enjoying it, and then at some point in like 2017 or so, I got stuck on a mandatory stealth mission, and I just couldn't continue. And this was on land, and I just was like, well, this is the main story. I have to progress. So unless I wanted to do side missions from the ship forever, the game was over at that point. And that sucked. They have shown a willingness to patch out that kind of thing with, say, Star Wars Outlaws. So that's my big hope for Resynced. And of course, it'll be nice to finally play Freedom Cry. I think
thought that stuff wasn't included. I was actually going to mention that because
really?
I read that the DLC stuff wasn't going to be
Wait,
included.
what? I did not know that.
That was like the main negative I was gonna say was like, yeah, it'll be cool to play again, but I kind of liked Freedom Cry a little better than the main game.
What? That's like the bare minimum of a remake. Fuck you.
I mean,
Never mind.
I could be wrong.
Never mind. Nope. Zero hype. I mean, I'll still probably, if I have my Ubisoft Plus subscription already, then probably. But like, there's no way that you're going to essentially make people pay $60 again. At least not me. People like me who don't want to be ripped off. Arg. I guess because maybe they thought it wasn't noteworthy enough, but like that, from what I hear, that's one of the best DLCs that Black Flag or any Assassin's Creed ever had. So
I think it's probably the best DLC they ever had, although I haven't played some of the newer ones, but from that era for sure. From like 360, 2010s era Assassin's Creed.
Well, late, very, very late. Like the Xbox One came out for a couple months later.
Assassin's Creed games, yeah.
Yeah. So old that they were still numbering the Assassin's Creed games. That's much about narrator voice.
I found a new voyage. They actually retooled the Athena's voyages. You can just do straight up treasure maps for Athena's now.
Nice.
So I'm kind of down to do some of that. Haven't done that in a while.
That's very cool.
Because before it would be like, oh, you get like 8 maps to complete. You know, you get eight islands to go to basically. And it was kind of a lot. So you can.
Yeah, I remember
but they
it
also
was.
have shorter.
There is still
time-intensive voyages.
There is still one blue mermaid gem on the other side of the island.
Okay, I'm just gonna look for the island we're headed to. If you want to just fetch that.
Sure. And it also I apparently can also dig up a skeleton.
Oh, nice.
I think it's not letting me.
Yeah, I think that's what that is. Let me see. I see the glowing thing. Oh, weird. I'll try it. It might just be in an awkward spot where it's not.
Yeah, I think it is.
Oh well. Not like we're doing much combat, anyways.
No, not really. Thankfully, this seems to be one of the more peaceful Sea of Thieves nights.
I think I got it.
Okay. Nice. It'll be good to have that companion by our side. I shall call you Ben Bones. The boniest Ben that ever bent. Anyway. Well, and speaking of Assassin's Creed as well, I got to finally try the Discovery Tour in Assassin's Creed Origins for my 250th video. History Flights number 10, The Hidden Faith episode 7, and SunnyRedemption Sailing number 57. My goodness, even just going across and the world and not doing anything else, like not taking the tours, just climbing around, of course the Great Pyramids and the Sphinx, but also like lesser known temples and small villages and things. It really made ancient Egypt feel alive. Unfortunately, it wasn't for a video deep diving into ancient Egypt. It was for another defense against Wahidazal, who uh, after that point, said that the only reason that he lost his anti-stalking case against me was because, get this, I'm an FBI informant now, in addition to a Mossad agent, and the Baha'is at the Tahiri Justice Center also conspired with them. So I'm apparently that important that I have to be saved by 3 government agencies rather than him ever being wrong in his life. Oh, and in that video, and he still has not refuted this because I have a screenshot with evidence, I accused him of messaging a 12-year-old because an anonymous source came to me and said that's what happened. And he said, well, put up or shut up, fake tranny. Essentially, your anonymous source is completely wrong because anonymous sources are terrible. That's not how journalism works. I can't say from that what the contents of the messages are. I can't say, oh, he's a pedophile, because that's not what the source claimed, and that's not what the evidence shows. I only claimed that he'd reached out to a 12-year-old, and that's it. That alone is far too weird for this man to ever be taken seriously by anyone with a brain. At least he finally left me the fuck alone for a few days after his FBI informant crap. And I also got to take a couple days to myself because I had a pretty action-packed Saturday. I got to go to 4 embassies as part of the Round the World Embassy Tour, which I made a video of, and also Star Wars Day at National Stadium, which I also made a video of. And that was fantastic, but left me very exhausted. That and the editing for both of the videos, which took most of Sunday, because video editing is hard. Anyway, so the embassies I got to visit were Uzbekistan, the Philippines, Peru, and Kazakhstan. I wanted to visit 18, but most of those had huge lines. I spent most of my 4 hours that day waiting in lines for something or other, whether that was food or just getting into the embassies at all. I had to leave Jamaica and Tunisia because the lines were way too long. So it's a shame that I didn't get to go to as many as I wanted, but the ones that I did were fantastic. I mean, Uzbekistan alone was a highlight of my day because I got to see a very uniquely designed baby crib. I'll send you a picture of that later. That this woman said, hey, I slept in that when I was a kid. That was so cool. I got to talk to a couple embassy workers who were really enthusiastic about the fact that I knew more history about the history of Uzbekistan than the average American, probably. And got to try on Kazakhstani clothes, sit in a yurt, play a little bit of a mandolin, I think, and try some amazing food, like a beef bulgogi empanada, a burnt Biscoff cheesecake, and ceviche. The first two were from the Philippines, and the last one was from Peru. But they were things I had to buy, not free samples. There were not a lot of those, unfortunately. But, again, fantastic day learning about different cultures. And then I was so relieved because my friend went with me, but got there earlier because I was at embassies, and got the Baby Yoda limited time collectible that I wanted. It's Grogu with a little baseball floated in the air. But it's still so cute, and I can't wait to give it to my mom. What was funny was I got it 5 minutes before the game started, but hey, now she gets to have one of her own. And I also got to, because I paid for the FIS Champions Club as a little bit of a splurge for myself, um, decided to film all the historical artifacts that I could, from player trophies to the World Series trophies to all sorts of cool pictures of. Like, did you know that FDR's first pitch bounced off of a photographer's camera and was caught by a random policeman?
No. Huh.
Yeah, it was things like that that were really cool. And if you're ever there and we ever go to a Nats game, we have to get Sasan's hot dogs. It's
Okay.
Korean corn dogs with sugar, spicy mayo, sweet chili, and this was a little bit messy, but hot Cheeto really helped. And they had one that was half mozzarella, half hot dog that was incredible, and that I actually got for free after they accidentally only gave me a mozzarella one. So that was very good customer service, and I am super stoked to go back at some point. It is a bit of an expensive day out to go to National Park, even if you get the $30 seats or whatever that make you broil in the DC heat. And so I would, if I was to go, want to do the club seats in order to have guaranteed air conditioning.
I have done plenty of bleacher seats at baseball games, but usually, depending on the stadium, the like left or right field seats aren't quite as brutal.
Yeah, as opposed to the ones that are closer to home plate.
Yeah, I'm talking like bleacher seats, straight out center field, like baking in the sun. But
Oh,
usually,
yeah.
or along the first or third base line, those are a little more expensive, but usually they're not too bad. I'm mostly talking about Fenway, but also like Yankee Stadium and Citi Field.
Ah. Well,
Those are the ballparks that I go to.
the annoying thing is that the Romans figured out how to shade everybody, even
Mhm.
even the cheap seats. Everyone from them to the Emperor's box got cooled off, and that's only top of mind because unfortunately I did watch a video about about Sporus, who was a teenage boy who was castrated and dressed up to look like Emperor Nero's dead wife. Yeah. Then killed himself before Emperor Vitellius could have him executed in the Colosseum in the in a dramatic reenactment of a story about rape. So, yeah, probably an understandable way out. But anyway, so yeah, that was a very fun weekend. How about you? How was your trip to Universal?
Well, it was good. Little unexpected last minute issues because I mentioned to you off stream, but my mom ended up going to the hospital like 2 days before we were going to go because it was supposed to be a trip with me and her, and so she was like, "Okay, well, I'm definitely not going." Because even if
Oh,
she was at the hospital, like she wouldn't want to just go hop on a plane right after getting out. She's doing very well,
ah,
by the way. She might be out tomorrow or the next day.
I was just about to
But
ask.
yeah, so my options at that point were just eat the cost of the plane ticket because I had already bought a hotel there and just go solo, or try and get the ticket transferred to someone else. And yeah, Zan ended up going, so we were able to just pay like $75 to transfer all the info. Usually they charge you like the full price of the ticket plus like the difference, or they charge you the difference in how much the ticket would cost now. But my mom was literally on the phone with him in the emergency room, like, "Hey, is there anything we can do that won't cost us an arm and a leg?" So $75 was much better than just forfeiting the ticket altogether. And so it let me and Zan at least have a great couple days down there.
Well, I'm
And
glad you got to go with them, and
yeah, and we
tell them I
did
say
the
hi.
yeah, of course. So we my plan for this trip was to do the water park the first day. Unfortunately, my foot was like bothering me that day, and like I did
Uh-oh.
not want to walk barefoot through a water park all day. So it was like such a cosmic string of bad luck that first day because we got the room at the hotel literally across the street from the water park, like a 50-foot walk. But
Oh
I didn't
no.
want to go and aggravate my foot. I wanted it to be good for the next day when we were going to be walking around Universal Studios all day. So that was a
Dang.
bit of a bummer. So I didn't end up doing the water park. I was thinking maybe I'd do it the day that we left, but there wasn't really enough time, and I'd want to do a full day there. So we still had the one, we kind of just chilled out that first day. Went, got some food, just hung out, enjoyed the hotel, and then the next day my foot was not totally better, but good enough to get through the park. And our luck really turned around because the park was also not crowded at all. So we got on every single ride we wanted to do by about 4 p.m. We just did a park hopper. Well, Zan just
For those two, yeah, okay.
Do the park hopper. I get in there for free with my pass.
Right.
Yeah, because the thing is, Zan had not been to any Universal Park since 2008, so kind of just like, well, you might as well see the stuff that's been there that you missed out on first, and so we might do an epic trip at some point.
Sure.
Never actually went to Universal that time. They've only been in 2002 when they were 5, so, basically
Wow.
had never been. Had
Yes.
very few memories of it. When I went in 2008, I actually went solo. I just had my dad drop me off there because we were staying at Disney. I was like, well, I don't want to just... It was our off day at Disney, and I was like, well, I'm not just going to sit around in our fourth wilderness cabin. So just drop me off at Universal with $100 and I'll figure something out.
Well, that's certainly would not have flown with my parents when I was visiting Animal Kingdom with them. Just like, oh yeah, just drop me off at a random park by myself at 16. No, I think we did Islands of Adventure too, but I'd have to double check. But we definitely stayed at the Swan and Dolphin, which was really nice.
Oh yeah, I've walked around there. I've never stayed there.
And got to see giraffes out of our window, so that was really nice. Because we were in Animal Kingdom and Epcot. Those were the two that we did that time.
Nice.
Yeah, those were the days. The other thing that I remember most about that visit was playing Crush the Castle nonstop on my ipodtouch, where I also was like the technology whiz and made sure that we had an app for our room. Because they were doing a separate app for the Swan and Dolphin at the time, I think. Oh, I'm dead.
I'll be right there. I could probably make it in time.
Well, I'm sorry that happened. I did not realize it was so close together to the park. I'm glad that you did have a good couple days there.
And my mom, so I'm contemplating when my next trip will be, because I'm definitely going in September, because I'm going down there for a concert anyways with a friend. And now I'm like, well, maybe I should go around my birthday at the end of July too. And if my mom's up to it, she can go and, kind of make up that trip that she missed. Because honestly, she would love the hotel that we stayed at. It was Cabana Bay, and they have their own lazy river. So even though I missed the water park, I still got to, cruise around a lazy river for 45 minutes. And it was like a substantial lazy river. Like it's a full 15 minutes if you're just sitting there to get through it.
Cool.
And I was just kind of like, because my mom loves that sort of stuff. She's not really a huge water park person, but she will sit in a lazy river for hours. So I'm like, oh, she would love this hotel. So thinking around my birthday, she can just pony up some of the costs if she's down for it.
Neat. Well, if you manage to, I would love to meet you both in DC.
Yeah.
Or just you if you're only able to do that.
Yeah.
Speaking of trying to make things happen as well, for some reason I can't seem to select any food. Like I've tried so many times that it just doesn't let me. So I think maybe what I need to do is die horribly and then
go for it.
Respawn. So yeah, I hear a mermaid statue. I'm just gonna drown.
Okay.
Trying to get to it. Where are you? Because I know I heard mermaid statue singing. Yep, there it is. It's a red one, so that'll be nice and difficult for me to drown in. Then speaking of drowning, the weirdest news that I've seen all week is still that GameStop plans to buy eBay.
I saw that headline. It's just like I if they're trying to pivot their whole business, I guess. But, like, I felt like they were struggling and closing stores, so this feels like some kind of weird desperation move to me.
So here's the MBA logic, I suppose you could say, that people could use GameStop stores as points to trade in practically anything that can then be listed by the company on eBay. I suppose it's an inventory play for retro games as well, to then become like a marketplace Amazon style, because that's where Amazon makes most of its money. It's not from selling products it makes or lists directly, it's the third-party marketplace and Amazon Web Services. So I guess that's the, outsider CEO play still, but it's like, could you not have tried to do anything else but this kind of desperation move? Because GameStop's market cap is $11 billion and eBay is at 45. So that means that they're almost certainly going to need to bring in private equity investors and a ton of debt, which will then mean that the combined company is hugely leveraged because the investors never actually take on the debt. That's always what happens, and people always lose their jobs because of it, which will mean acceleration of the store closures. And I guess some sort of mutate will survive, but it won't be the GameStop that people used to like. I mean, like is a very interesting term because the people to this day make memes about like, oh, this incredibly rare game, I traded it in for 62 cents, even though that's willfully distorting how that actually works, and I've gotten plenty of good value out of that. And, well, I have pre-orders there still. It's very difficult to quit that because that allows me to afford to play video games by selling others. But after I get 007 and Lego Batman, I don't think I ever need to go there again because, I've gotten pretty good at selling games online again, and it's not nearly as convenient to go back to Hyattsville as it used to be. It's just like, I do miss those days when I could walk 5 minutes across town and talk to a human being about video games, whether that was somebody waiting for the midnight launch of Destiny 2 or a store employee who, was very nice and friendly. Now there's like 2 people in the store, if you're lucky, and one of them is always doing a transaction and one of them is always stocking inventory. Maybe not always, but you get the point. Like, they're very busy now because there's less people being made to do more with that less already. And once eBay is swallowed, I guess, the reverse would have made way more sense. You know what would have made way more sense? Is GameStop buying GameFly. Because that would have actually meant that, like, you could return your game rentals at a store. It would have meant consolidation, sure, but it would have meant consolidation against external competition that already exists, such as for digital games and subscriptions. Which, like, there were other methods being explored, such as Microsoft giving them a cut of every Xbox console digital game sold via a digital tagging system, which doesn't appear to have worked out. Microsoft also promised to give GameStop a bunch of Surface tablets so they could basically have more floor space by getting rid of the cash registers and stuff, but that system doesn't appear to have worked out. And then there were those test retro stores. Okay, I am just a invisible body now.
Oh.
After dying again. Okay, there we go. That was weird.
Okay.
But the red mermaid statue is still out there. That's why we gotta go get it. Sorry.
Yeah, just show me where it is so I can help you.
I'm sorry, I thought you knew from my gamer tag, but that's okay.
I thought you were still trying to kill yourself.
What? No,
I thought you had to kill yourself
uh,
to fix
I
the
mean, I
Steam
did.
machine.
I'm sorry, I did not tell you,
Okay.
though. Yeah, so it's right where I am.
Yep, I'm shooting it.
Uh, okay, well, that was funny. Anyway, goodness. Okay, well, let's see what floated up. Just one red, but that should still be quite a bit of gold. So now we can move on.
All right.
Sorry about the delay there.
Yeah, you're good. I put down a new voyage, by the way. Whenever we're ready. I
Thought
should have
so.
time for one more at least.
Yeah,
We
that
at least
sounds
made it to
good.
grade 3 Athenas. We might make it to grade 4 with this.
Well then, I gotta rapid fire through other news items before we talk about what we played, because holy crap, I have some thoughts about all that. But anyway, let me ammo chest it up and vote for the quest. The starter edition launch is going to come with Among Us of Game Pass. That's been rumored. Is going to come with Among Us, Astroneer, Batman Arkham Knight, Celestial, Chivalry 2, City Skylines, Control, Crash Team Racing, DayZ, Dead Cells, Deep Rock Galactic, Descenders, Dishonored 2, lots of other ones that are old. Like, a lot of your Fallout 4s, Doom Eternal, Gears 5. The fact that those are considered older games is wild to me, but that's still a decent list that I couldn't.
Yeah,
That I decided not to run
wanna,
through entirely.
I think they just want to get a lower starting price point because what they have now, I think a lot more people are kind of balking at, and they're like, well, I don't need all that. So, I think they're trying to like reintroduce a tier of Game Pass that's more equivalent to what Game Pass was when it first launched. Almost 9 years ago, which was just the promise was just like here's a selection of games. It wasn't about necessarily new games when it launched. It was just here's a bunch of games in a subscription for several bucks a month. And I think they want to just get some kind of tier that's more like that because as they started adding more and more to it, the price went up. Like as they added first party
Duh.
games, the price crept up, and they stopped letting people get in on all the ridiculous deals and getting it that way. And then they added EA Play, Ubisoft Plus, Classics, and all the other add-ons, and the price has only gone up. So they need to kind of set a new floor than what they have with the current one. And I wonder if this is also kind of because they're going to have that difficult question of what do we do with online play next generation? If Helix is going to be this hybrid thing, they don't want to give up that free money of what they've had for 20 years with what was Xbox Live Gold and now is just, Game Pass.
It seems like what's gonna happen with Helix is that in the game mode, or Xbox mode, or whatever it is, console mode, you're gonna have to pay for online multiplayer.
I mean, that's just...
Even for games that are from Windows mode.
I just don't see how that's going to be, like...
That's the rumor. There's still discussions and stuff, because...
Yeah, I don't get how that can make any sense to anyone. I don't see how that doesn't backfire and then spectacularly.
Or maybe the move is to make multiplayer free if you're going to have $1,000 PC Xbox hybrid.
Like, I just don't see it. I don't see whatever... I get that it's free money they've been banking on for 20 years, but they have to... It no longer makes any sense if this is the angle they're going for with this PC console hybrid thing. Like, they can call the console all they want, but if it's going to play PC games in any way, if it's functionally going to operate as a PC as well, then I don't see how you square that with your audience.
Well, the details are still being squared of all of this, but at least there's a vision this time. They said that they want to make Gen 9 stable, and they want to deliver Project Helix to lead in performance and play your console and PC games. So, You know, that's the vision. They probably are still going to wait a few years to actually launch this thing, so hopefully they know what they're doing by then, including potentially exploring mergers and acquisitions again. I'm not as excited for those as I was when it felt like, oh, this will be the quick fix for first-party exclusives problem. But they are at least looking at exclusives again. Like, having them at all.
Yeah.
Because here's what I think, is you have newer franchises that are smaller start out completely exclusive. Like, there was no fucking way that Pentiment or Hi-Fi Rush were going to sell like Game Busters as part of that 4-game test. So they should have stayed exclusive. And then maybe the sequel is multiplat. We've talked about things like this before, but now that they're actually thinking about having an exclusive lineup again, you know, maybe it's that older Gears games are ported and the newer ones are not. And again, for live service games, it makes sense to have the multiplat, even though Forza Horizon 6, which I'm so stoked for, by the way, I got the premium edition pre-ordered and everything. Even though that is very multiplayer heavy, it still has an offline mode, but it does very much rely on that player population for popularity. And so it makes sense to have that be the case. They should have just done that from the beginning and avoided all these years of confusion. But it really did get muddled after the Activision acquisition. Because once you again open that door of having to make certain games multiplat or face the wrath of the government. Sorry, force a habit there, buddy, skeleton. Then the bean counters at Microsoft were like, we need more money to set on fire for AI. And they did say they were going to look at that too, which thank goodness. Because some of these integrations have been completely useless. I've never once used the store chat. For the handful of times that I ever use AI, it's Gemini, because that's smarter. For the summarization that I need, it sometimes. In a very useless category of technology, Copilot is the most useless. So, I think maybe they just cut that out completely eventually once the whole AI sector implodes. Or just are like, well, yeah, it's around. But it's just a feature like spell check, you know. That James Morum, I guess instead of James Marsden, who I've been really liking on Your Friends and Neighbors. He has a very villainous turn. That's all I'll say. Which is like the dad from Sonic. He's diabolical. Oh, the other thing that I've been sad about this week is Us2 CEO saying like, oh, we've gotten too used to the idea of giving people salaries to live, and saying, well, you gotta cut development costs now. So I went back.
Wait,
and...
Who said that?
Us2, the creators of Monument Valley. The CEO,
okay.
Maria Sayans. I guess what happened is that the ports for PC and console of Monument Valley did not sell nearly as well as they thought.
I mean, that makes sense. I don't know why I would play that on a console instead of my phone. It works very well on the phone.
Yeah, well, at the time, I did not want to buy Monument Valley on my phone because I hate playing games on my phone now. And Monument Valley 3 was about to come out, so I was like, well, I might as well have the whole series on a platform that will not obliterate them. Because remember, I did heavily invest in mobile gaming way back when, and then Apple was like, nope, they just don't work. So now the only way to play them is my son's old iPad in Africa. But at least we have a friendly skeleton on our side here. Oh no! 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 My nightmares are back! Oh, exploding barrels are the bane of my existence. Oh god. No! Well, at least you're nearby, so hopefully you can get me.
I didn't know you were... Oh, no, I was way over here near the skeleton.
Oh. Well. The curse continues with me. Of exploding barrels just wrecking my face. And speaking of wrecking my face, Vampirecrawlers! Holy crap!
Oh, yeah.
That was most of what I played this week when I had time for video games. This stuff is like digital crack and should be investigated by a normal government.
Yeah, it's. I think I told you over text. Like, I think it's my game of the year so far.
Really?
It's a hell of a game. Yeah, I was so sad. Like, because like I could have played it on xCloud, but I was like, I want a full like couple hours if I'm gonna dig into this game. So I don't want to know what my hour count is now, but it's definitely upwards of 15 hours.
Oh,
And that was mostly in the first
man.
like 3 or 4 days before I went on vacation and had to work. Because like I've barely been at home the past like 9 days or so because I've either just been working or on vacation. So
well,
yeah, but any time I've had for video games has mostly just been Vampirecrawlers and a couple other little things. Crawlers is wow. How
I
far
wouldn't
are
be
you?
I wouldn't be quite as effusive, but I am on the last level. 9.
Okay.
Castella Ultima, I think.
Okay,
Uh,
so I just got there as well.
Yeah, once I beat level 8, it was so amazing. I mean,
Yeah,
the first
run I
version
had
of the
on level
castle.
8
Inner strength.
Yeah, so I did level 8 last night when I got home from work, and I just had the most ridiculous build. I was just infiniting all over the place. You have to be careful with it to not actually summon the Grim
Yeah.
Reaper when you're rolling those infinites. I'm just like, all right, I have to just force myself to end this turn.
Right,
So I don't
because for those who don't
make
know,
them angry.
there are certain cards that can appear infinitely, but if you use them more than 4 times, you get a mini version of death that has a very devastating attack.
I got so lucky the first time that I ran into that because I noticed my cards breaking. It was on the 3rd level, the first bridge level on like my first run of it. I got so lucky I had the most broken build possible. It was like my first time. It was like the best moment that I've had in a video game so far this year was just finding my first infinite combo and also exploiting it to just defeat the skeletons.
I say. Yes.
Or the Green Reaper for the first time.
We've had
'Cause
skeletons
I
in our
managed to do
brain a
my
lot
first run.
today, so can't blame you.
So,
But
like,
oh, you defeated the
first
Grim
run-
Reaper. I know it's physically possible, but wow.
Oh, yeah, no, not the one that shows up at the end of the level. I've actually gotten close with that, I think. But the
Whoa.
mini Reapers that show up when you try to do infinite combos.
Oh, okay,
So
that's
my
I see.
very first run, I had like.
So
I
if you
don't
defeat
remember
them,
what the
then
build
you get
was.
infinite combos. Interesting.
Yeah, the only downside is you lose those cards. Once those cards break, they're gone. So you kind of just have to be ready for, like,
Ah.
basically build yourself up. So whatever build I had basically like tons more like projectiles going. So the cards that I had left after the broken ones were gone, I was able to at least output enough damage quickly enough so that it didn't kill me, and I was able to beat it. And that
Yeah,
was just the most satisfying feeling, is finding out that the game has these rules or has these safeguards against you running infinites, and managing to break through those safeguards is so satisfying in just like an amazing way. That was probably my favorite run that I did in the whole game, even though I've had more impressive runs since then. Just figuring out the infinites and how broken you can make things, like especially like I'm sure you've probably found this by now, but like how you can turn cards into -1 cards
yeah,
to start your
mainly with
combo easier. Yeah,
wings for
yeah,
one less mana. Um, having a -1 through 4 build, I haven't broken anything, but it was still really awesome with Pugnalia, the revolver lady, and Clerici,
oh yeah.
the healing lady, so that I could really tank and output a lot of damage.
So like some cards will let you stack armor too. So you can basically, if you
Right,
run
yeah.
the so if you use the Arcana card to like have armor and stuff, and I basically just went through battles with just infinite armor in some cases.
Oh,
It was
infinite armor
ridiculous.
because of the infinite combos, yeah. But
Like I'm just able to draw and redraw cards that give me armor, like as like a gem slot. It's just
armor, I
so.
lucked out because I had one of those tarot card thingies. My main tarot card was
The Arcanas, yeah.
that's what that is. Duh. I just am very terrible with the names, but I can tell you what they are. So the um the sharp mind that allows you to keep a ton of mana was my
Yeah.
main one through most of this game. And then I also found, and this was what allowed me to beat 8, the one that allows you to say, I would like to keep my armor between encounters in a battle, please. That
Yeah, that's what
was
I mean.
incredible.
It's that one, if you have cards in your deck and a build that supports it, just like generating armor turn after turn, you're just untouchable at that point, pretty much.
Yeah, the reason why I'm not as effusive about the game as you are is because I really feel like the mini-map does not give you enough information about what you're looking for um, you to be able to assess risks quickly in the dungeon crawler map. And it's also kind of clunky at first to move. Like sometimes I would just have accidental encounters because I thought I was facing one way and I wasn't.
That's just something where like I've played a lot of first-person dungeon crawlers, so it wasn't really an issue for me. But I can definitely see that
I got used
if
to
you
it after a
haven't played as
time,
many.
but it was
Yeah.
like very hard to tell that a symbol was a chicken, for instance, that I'd already unlocked when coming back to it. I would have to memorize that and then come back to it later. And it was a minor flaw, but that was one thing. The other thing is that sometimes the infinites, or the ones that are breakable, sometimes they do repeat, and then sometimes they don't. Some cards are just useless. Like, I never really got into Attract Orb, for instance, and I think that
Attract orb is very useful in some builds.
some builds, that probably is just the build that I had.
Yeah, if you're building around drawing cards, and like there are very
I guess it got just useless after a while because I guess it just got useless after a while because of the hand size upgrades that I had that made that basically needless.
Right, but the thing is, if you are trying to draw specific cards or trying to keep your combo going, it can be very, very good. Like,
Oh
if
yeah,
you're
in
just,
in a
like,
pinch, I suppose. It's just
yeah,
not really for
I've had
my
plenty of
build.
good runs with. Yeah, if you're not playing that way, and that's what I like about this game is it's very flexible.
That is
Like
true.
I like Slay the Spire a lot. I haven't played Slay the Spire 2 yet, but I like
It's
Slay the Spire
also
a lot, and some builds in that are very flexible where you can pivot to different builds, but then there are some cases where it's like, well, you really want to play this character this way. And Vampire Crawlers so far, like I found a lot of like pretty much every run I do, I swap out my crawlers completely or like try different variations. And
ah.
that's been really satisfying to like just find out what you can do with certain cards. And I found in my experience every card has a use. Even if like I've had runs where I'm like, oh, this card isn't really working out for me, and I'll just
What are we still looking for in
endeavor
this island, by
to
the
get
way?
rid of
Sorry.
it. We're just looking for one more chest somewhere
Okay,
around
anyway.
this grassy area.
You were saying?
Yeah, but like, some cards I'll find like, okay, this card's in my deck. It's not really that useful. I'll try to get rid of it somewhere. But
Yeah, I usually ended up, if I had to sacrifice a card, sacrificing a tracked orb, for mana. It's not that it's not useful at all, I suppose. It's just that, again, once I had insane, almost unmanageable hands with slightly hard to parse text for that.
if you've already got a lot of other draw effects going on, it's not very useful. But if you have other things going on with your crawlers, if your crawlers aren't built around drawing and you just need a card to be able to do that utility, it can be very useful, especially if you're comboing into it from like a wild card on a very high combo. Like if you're
The wild cards have been so awesome.
Yeah, like I love those. That mechanic of the combo extension is so good. Like I don't know what your highest combo is, but mine was like 70 something.
I say.
I think I got into the 50s. My main thing is that eventually it does get repetitive, to just be like 0 1 2 3 0 1 2 3, or whatever. And there are ways to extend that. I know. It's just that like it's both too complicated to be completely mindless and too simple to have the kind of depth that I suppose I guess I shouldn't have expected, but that would have really made it stand out.
To me, it's simple if you're just going for the level clears, definitely. But if you're going for like the busted stuff, it actually does get like for example, so when I did my run of the 8th level, I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to beat this level, but I'm also gonna try to beat the Reaper at the end because I've gotten a few runs where I've gotten close. And so to do that, what you really need to do, as far as I'm aware, there's probably more that I'm missing because I haven't been able to beat him, but you want to get freeze abilities and you want to get a lot of health. Because you need 333, I think, to survive that initial hit. So you just need to have tons of health, which I went into him having like 600 something health by the end because I just had tons of max HP gains and I was just rolling them. I was basically extending fights as long as I could to get as many max HP gains as I could. And I also had a crawler, one of the crawlers that heals you with their ability. So I was basically just like maxing my HP. I was basically like upping my max HP as much as I could each fight, and then just healing for a bunch to, get back up to that max HP. So I ended up with 600 something HP, and I was doing pretty well against him. I just got one bad hand, and I didn't get a freeze on him, so he was able to hit me before I could stop him.
Yeah, the random nature of card battlers can work.
I think,
that can be annoying.
I realized my mistake at the end, so there was a place to offload your cards near the end. I got on the floor I was on, I was like, oh, I could just dump all these for health and pare down my deck a bit.
Oh, really?
I should have done that. Yeah, because those places where you can buy health for cards, like the chicken stands.
Oh,
or whatever,
right.
That's a good way to pare down your deck. Because there's not really there are like the banishing things and the other things to like focus your deck, but that's the easiest way to just chuck off cards.
Yeah, I've never really gotten that into banishment mechanics and things like that because then it's like, well, what if I need this later, you know?
But the thing is, like, once you've played enough to know what you want out of a build, you kind of get a better feel for what you definitely don't want.
That's
so you
true.
can get better options.
It's just that
and
it's just that we're definitely very different players. I'm very much the beat the game once and then see you later kind of person. I want to beat up
like,
this game for addicting me so much.
As soon as I saw potential for an infinite combo, like on that third level, I was like, all right, well, let me try this. And then I saw the game push back against it. I saw that card crack. And I was like, oh, it knows. And I just kept pushing it. And I just love that so much.
Well, good for you.
That sort of back and forth between the developer and the player is just so perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been my main
that.
thing. I did play a little bit of Kiln. I actually played on xCloud for my hotel room. So I basically just played the tutorial. I don't know if you've checked it out yet.
I've only checked out the tutorial for that either.
Okay. So we're on the same level there. It seems cool. I definitely want to try the multiplayer a little bit. I don't think I'll get super into it, but it seems all right.
I mulled over live streaming it, but this was closer to the game's launch, and then other things intervened with that. So I decided that wasn't a good use, but maybe it's a good use of our time to try and do that as a test of live streaming capabilities next week. Just whatever.
So I played 20 minutes of that because I just made a couple pots and ran around a bit.
I only made the one pot. I'm glad that it's fairly simple. I just don't know how creative I can really get with that because I'm not good at this kind of character customization. It also seems like having just the one attack, an air attack, and an ability will make the combat very repetitive and way too simple. It also was kind of clunky to move the character around, but I knew that I didn't want to just dive into the multiplayer without you to help figure it out, so I think that's what we'll do next week when I'm up in New York.
Yeah, I should have some free time tomorrow. I plan to at least try a match or two.
Okay, I could do... I could do tomorrow for that.
Well, no, not tomorrow night. I won't be available tomorrow night.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, probably in the morning or whatever.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. If it's super early in the morning before 9:30, then I could do that.
I mean, if you really want to be up at 6, sure. That's when I usually get up.
Oh, okay, never mind. Well, we'll figure out your real availability then later. But the other games that I've been playing when I've had time are Lego City Undercover on Switch 2, where I'm very close to the end, and have been loving doing more of the open world stuff just as a quick game to play when you're listening to something kind of game. The main reason why I haven't turned my Switch 2 off is because it's very annoying to quit any mission even after your progress has been saved, because it always puts you back at the frickin' police station, and you always have to slowly go back to the location and then go do the thing, and that's just ridiculous to me. Maybe it would be a lot easier if I was playing this on the Xbox version, which I did have a save on, but didn't get very far in. But that's just too much Lego City Undercover. I'm fine with playing it one more time on Switch 2, and then maybe, again, with Tato, just in the open world stuff, as his first real big Lego game, Because now that I still don't know when the Switch 2 version of Batman is coming and don't know when I'm going to see him, there's not nearly as much incentive for me to get it there as opposed to Xbox, where I'll have guaranteed better performance. And we'll be bringing up my Xbox to New York for 2 weeks in order to record my first impressions of the early access version of Forza Horizon 6 on both PC and Xbox, instead of rolling the dice with my mini PC and then probably getting a horrible recording. I can at least do some other video recording for that and hope that it performs okay. But then definitely get a good capture out of the Xbox version connected to my PC. Is it gonna be heavy to lug around? Sure. That's why I had the Series S for so long. Oh, a stool? Where'd you find that?
On one of the islands.
But well, the other thing is that I also want to dabble around a bit. After maybe getting for a little bit further in Life is Strange Reunion on my PC, because the other games I had installed on my Steam were VR ones, because I got a Quest 2 for some reason for $76 on an impulse, to I guess try and back up my library and also play PC VR games finally, or at least hope that worked, and it still hasn't arrived yet. I do not know what happened. I will try with my bank if I can't get that fixed soon. But yeah, the other game I've been mainly playing is mousepiforhire.
Yeah, I haven't checked it out yet, but I know you've been playing a bunch.
Well, I've been playing close to 15 hours of it, I think, off the top of my head, because this is a long game. There are still several weapons to unlock. I just unlocked the brain in a jar gun, which honestly is not very good compared to the devarnisher that slowly destroys enemies but does it in one hit. Like, it takes 5 hits to cause their brain to explode, and you get 20 ammo for the gun. So it's like, yeah, you can kill 4 enemies slowly, or you can do it with the devarnisher, or the loose cannon, or there's a lot of weapons, and not all of them are have their roles balanced well. And I would have liked a little bit more personality from the guns too. Like, it's very cool to have a brain in a jar, and I would have liked more cartoony flourishes with that, because otherwise they look kind of generic, and the Pack-a-Punch equivalent, because this is very Bioshock inspired, is also not very interesting. Of like finding blueprints and then bringing them to Tammy to unlock in like a basement somewhere in the PI office map that you go to solve the case by just clicking a bunch. That's not very interesting either. I also get the broader ludonarrative dissonance points that IGN raised in their highly mocked 6 out of 10 review, but they were totally blown out of proportion. The puns are not always to my taste, and I do think that the balance of cartoony physics and noir tone is not always there, such as the overly complex yet boring and predictable plot and flat world building.
Mouse bag for mice! We do not want...
Oh, no. Not here. Not in a million years. Yeah, get out of here, Phil Shirt.
But those are minor, at the edges kind of criticisms. That, yeah, it's a little bit of 1,000 cuts thing that makes it less than a 9 out of 10 or whatever. But I think we should just get rid of number scores in general. And my recommendation is still the same. Wait for a sale. You know, if you find that it isn't for you at $30. I've been really enjoying it. I've been like, close enough, welcome back, Bioshock. because, well, you have a full weapon wheel and everything. And there's been a lot of inventive levels this late on. Again, I don't know how well paced the weapons will be for... I am glad I bought it, though, because mousepi is a video game-ass video game. It does not advertise further DLC or microtransactions. It does not advertise itself as part of a cinematic universe of with logos and characters to follow and homework. And you know what? The really minor stuff apparently has already been modded away. Like, there's already a mod called mousepi Reloaded that allows you to turn the game into color, which isn't always working. I mean, this is a alpha state mod on ModDB. So I'll be interested to try the game again on PC because the game is Xbox Play Anywhere. So I do have access to that, though I've heard that modding Xbox Store, Microsoft Store, or whatever you want to call it, versions, is a pain in the ass. Oh yeah, we probably have food to sell. So why don't you check that out for a second?
Yeah.
But yeah, like, that being able to use your flashlight at any time, which I'm like, oh my god, that... Stop giving me the stupid prompt for the flashlight. And it would be very helpful to help with some of the navigation issues with darker areas. Because sometimes it's just me and my neurodivergence not seeing the target that I have to shoot to open up a thing, to do a thing. But sometimes the game just, like, stops for a bit because there's some esoteric key finding thingy. I mean, that's kind of how these Shock games before BioShock used to go, and other classic first-person shooters such as Blood, which is another huge influence. Like, they literally have him saying, "Live I die, I live again," which was funny.
Yep.
You know, the references are cute. Like, it's not Borderlands level of cringe. It's just like, there's an entire level set on a cruise ship where for much of it you literally cannot do anything but just explore. And that's fine, except that the exploration is annoying for that particular level. And then once you actually get into the gunfighting, it's very intense. But it's like, this could have been paced better. However, it feels very niggly to be nitpicking at the edges of such an amazing achievement of hand-drawn animation and fluid first-person shooter gameplay. It's probably one of those things where we'll be like, oh yeah, mousepi really established the formula, but mousepi 2 is so much better. You know, because they refined everything, from the story to the gunplay, which still sounds not great, and so doesn't have much feel. I mean, there's a chainsaw gun that I just unlocked, too. That just... It, like, sends bones. It feels more like a paintbrush from Epic Mickey. Swishing water than it does an actual chainsaw, because there's not that sound. There's not, like, tension. I guess when it hits enemies, I guess that's hard to do with 2D animation. But you know what? I will never fault developers for having ambition, and I feel like they mostly stuck the landing. We'll see where the ending falls, what my final impressions are, and how the mod progresses, but for what few games I've had time for, they've been great, you know? Just don't let my criticisms of Vampirecrawlers take away from the fact that this is a very good game, and a very good get for Game Pass. It's just also nice to see that there is still room in the market for really good AA games. You know, your
Yeah,
$30
and,
to $40 to $50 ones. Star Fox is being remade for the 4th time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always willing to give them another chance because they always get it almost right. Like Star Fox Zero has a lot of redeeming stuff to it. It's just like the fact that it had to be a Wii U game and use a lot of the Wii U specific gimmicks really held it down. So at least I think not having to design around the gamepad will help a lot. Like, and I like the designs too. I feel like I just see a little bit of people disliking the designs, thinking they look weird or creepy, but I don't know. I don't need them to look like, you know, Disney characters or whatever.
Yeah, no, I don't think they were gonna look like the Super Mario Galaxy movie models at all.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
model
I
one.
I like the kind of almost puppety or like animatronic-y look to them, you know?
Yeah, I don't mind them for the most part, except that it seems that everybody has got a double chins. At least I think that's just how it looks. Because
yeah, like the side profiles are not very flattering for sure.
But I don't need them to be, because how often am I going to actually see these things while in a spaceship?
Yeah.
I think that, like, honestly, a lot of this timing-wise makes perfect sense as well, because Wild Blue Skies, I'm worried for now that they're basically just the copy of a game that's about to come out.
Well, that's always a risk of, like, doing a, you know, like, unofficial spiritual successor is there's always a chance that the real thing's just gonna come along and eat your lunch.
Whatever's going on, just need to find Frank.
That's so much.
There's still plenty of space out there for more, like,
hopefully you're right.
Rail shooters.
Hopefully you're
The thing
right.
about Star Fox is those games are not, like, they're built to be replayable, but they're not long games. Like, if you know what you're doing, a run through Star Fox 64 was 30 to 45 minutes, you know?
Really?
And it just depends on which routes you end up taking, depending on how you do in the levels.
Well, clearly I just have
So,
not
like,
known what to do then. Either that
Yeah.
or the ancient-ass
you're-
controls.
Impressive, Star Fox. Now watch out for enemies in the asteroid field.
I won't let you down, sir.
Good luck.
If this does not work, I can't believe I lost to this scum!
Sorry to jet, but I'm in a hurry.
The thing
Or
is, your
both.
first playthrough, you're gonna get the lowest route on your first playthrough, most likely, because that's the way the game steers you towards. Like, and to even start unlocking the other routes, you have to know, like, you have to basically follow Falco through a waterfall to find the first hidden route in the first level for an area. So, like, I think they showed that in the direct as well, like, you know, how to take the different routes, and that's something that you just. It's a repeated playthrough type game. It's similar in some ways to, like, Sonic, where it's like, your first time through, you're not going to have a perfect run. It's just, you go through it, and then you start learning as you go, and then your subsequent runs, ideally, you get better and better and learn the game more. So I think it'll be interesting to see how people... Oh, I didn't realize you were done, sorry. It'll be interesting to see how people adapt to that if they're new to the series. Because, I don't know, that's not a very Nintendo way of designing games, necessarily. Like, especially their bigger franchises. So I wonder what people are going to feel about the sort of repeatable gameplay. Although I do kind of think people are primed for it now. Like, I'm kind of surprised they've never just made a Star Fox roleplay by now. That seems like something... If they were gonna do something brand new with Star Fox, that seems like an obvious thing to do.
first, I'm wondering how long you were going to info dumping about that while letting me die.
Yeah, I was just kind of shooting, playing target practice there.
Wow! Oh, I really forgot about how the wingsuit felt. Goodness.
I feel like Star Fox 64 was already halfway to being there, minus like any element of really randomization.
I see.
So I feel like if they are going to do a brand new Star Fox game someday, I feel like that would be one way to do it.
Okay. I can see that making sense.
Yeah, so I'll definitely pick it up when it comes out. I think it's June 25th.
Yep, and for $50, which I suppose that makes sense. They're saying that this is more of a budget game by Nintendo standards.
Yeah,
and then saying, well, you gotta budget a bit more if you want to experience this game and you don't have a Switch 2 already, because the prices have been raised. Oh boy.
I mean, this was definitely the best generation to start being an early adopter for all the consoles. I've saved hundreds of dollars at this point.
Oh gosh. That's just so topsy-turvy logic-wise, but
yeah,
they tried everything that they could, including raising practically all the accessories in price right before the pre-order. Yeah.
Yeah, something's got to give somewhere, and they kind of just hit that point where it's like, okay, we've got the first year out of under their belts, and we sold to all the early adopters. Now, I think their thinking is probably like, okay, we were able to sell it for $450, get all the early adopters before there was really a solid game lineup, and now they've got at least some stuff out there with more to come, I'm sure. The fact that the Star Fox rumors were real lends a lot more credence to those Ocarina of Time remake rumors, so I wonder like when that might come to fruition, because that'll be a huge system seller.
That will be huge. Ouch.
Like especially for let me try to get you. Oh, you're up there. Okay, I'll try to get you in
My
time,
bad.
but it's a little ways away. I'm coming. Just gotta hold my grapple.
This is the way things are when it comes to the prices. I guess now. It's just so annoying because this has all been imposed by one man and his greed to tax the entire world. And again, Nintendo did what they could for a while there, and they're certainly not going to give any tariff refunds to us. So, but it's just like, to some degree, it would be nice if these billion-dollar companies didn't feel pressured by the market to make an increased amount of money every quarter. That would be great. Jeez, I keep going up against these robots by myself, like an idiot. Then again, like, all of this now risks Nintendo's identity as the family console, as we've been saying multiple times. Because now it's not anywhere near as easy to justify like it was in the Switch generation towards the end there.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear anything you said past. Okay, I'm having weird connection issues.
Okay, yeah. That's not good. Well, I guess I'm just gonna die then.
Okay, you can hear me though? Because I couldn't hear you for a bit. I can hear you now.
Oh, only a little bit.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm still getting really bad
connection errors with Call of Duty. Ugh.
And real quick before we log out, the only other game I've really had time to play is I played the first hour or so of Aphelion, the new Don't Nod game. On
Oh
Gamepass.
yeah. I did play a little bit of that too. Meh. I mean, okay.
Yeah,
it has some really cool moments. But it feels like this AAA Cinematics, the indie game.
It doesn't leave a good first impression because it starts off with all that climbing and stuff. And I'm just like, come on, guys, like, have we not seen enough of this between, like, Tomb Raider and Uncharted?
Well,
like, this feels a little bit played out.
I think for Don't Nod in particular, the main team was working on Lost Records, while the secondary team that worked on Jusant
Like
worked on
Jusant
this.
Vanishers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It basically is Jusant with a AAA coat of paint, and I think it's more interesting than Jusant because of things like the grapple and stuff. But I think that sometimes that stuff just gets so repetitive, and it's like, we got rid of this in AAA games for a reason.
That's my one main criticism. I do like a lot of what it's doing, and especially, like, there's some stuff that's happening now that's getting pretty interesting, so I don't know if I'm going to stick with it to finish it, but I'm on, like, the 3rd chapter, I believe, and there's some stuff going on that I kind of like, so...
Yeah, you're still further on than me, because I think I last left off with an ice puzzle where the floor would cave around you, and it was very inconsistent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so you just have to, like, gingerly walk your way through it. And there are parts where you can just kind of sprint your way through it and outrun the ice falling apart.
The problem is, the walking animation is terrible, and there's not a way to, like, really slowly tilt the stick forward so that you're tiptoeing or anything like that. You just have to hope that the walking...
Kind of is. No, you can
either that or the dead zone is very high. I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's my stick. Because I actually could have...
I don't know.
I actually did see some drift before, with, like, my character, like, moving back and forth. So, I'm not sure.
I can assure you, I just played that bit earlier today. Like, I was
you could be really ginger.
You just kind of tiptoe, you see where it's about to break and run. Then I was able
I know the concept, it's just that it kept breaking no matter what I did. So I think that might be the problem, actually, now that I think about it. But, yeah, the other thing that bothers me about this game is the dialogue. Project Hail Mary, this is not. It wasn't going for that because it was about 2 astronauts with romantic tension. But I found a very funny TikTok recently about, like, why do these world-saving missions always only send 3 people?
Yeah.
And these 2 people just do not have good dialogue at all, and good chemistry at all. Like, that's supposed to sell the whole emotional core of the game, and it feels like they're mumblecoring through it. That kind of stiff, naturalistic, quote-unquote, dialogue, that's like, oh, that just happened, is kind of the whole deal with this game.
And it's definitely not great by any stretch, but I've been mostly just letting it happen and just moving on. Like, it hasn't really bothered me too much. Like, I'm still enjoying, like, I think the environments look really great. They
look fantastic
so far. So
it's probably one of the better looking games this year.
Yeah, there's been enough for me to keep going with it, and I'll definitely play more of it. I might just hit a breaking point where I'm kind of done with it, but, you know, I'm always happy to see Don't Nod still stretching their legs a bit.
Yeah, especially because I was worried for them after Lost Records did not sell gangbusters.
Yeah, I did like Lost Records a lot too. I haven't finished it, but I liked what I played.
Well,
I'll get to it someday, I'm sure. So that's pretty much all I played. I've just been busy.
Last bit before I figure out when you're next available and let you go. Did you see the Steam controller is launching before the Steam machine for $100?
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, the impressions of the actual controller seem pretty solid. It's just I wish it had the more Xbox style analog stick placement, because that's like the one thing that I'm like picky about in controllers is, like, you know, I'll deal with. I played plenty of PlayStation. I'm fine with adapting to that. It's just my preference has always just been the Xbox style. So, like, I wish there I just wish it was that style. But the actual controller looks very solid, and unfortunately, we're kind of at a point with pricing where, like, Xbox is kind of the only one still with the budget price controllers, and they're very basic. So.
Yeah, and like, I guess they're probably not going to include that with the Steam Machine if they're launching it separately, because why would they?
Yeah.
Anybody who's super interested in that would definitely want to have a controller of their own anyway. Or maybe they do, and that brings up the total price, because if you're advertising this as a way to play all of your PC games on the TV, then having that unified controller experience is definitely going to be how you're doing it. From what I'm seeing in the picture of the controller, they had to have the trackpads there in order to not interfere with other buttons, and have that like flat experience for your thumb, but still angled a little bit so it's not carpal tunneling too much. So ergonomically, it should kind of wash, but like it will be kind of annoying with the thumbsticks, even though I did adjust to them fairly easily when I had the Steam Deck. So like that's still a cheapo option, relatively speaking, at least used, if you just want to play all your PC games on the go. But this is 6 times more powerful, so there will be a lot of people making trade-offs on certain things, and that's kind of sad because I was really excited when we first talked about the Steam Machine almost 5 months ago. Oh my god, almost 6. Time flies in gaming news land. Anyway, I had really hoped that they would be a solid competitor to consoles, and now it just doesn't seem like that's the case. Unless all the consoles are $1,000 next gen, and that's how that rolls. So I guess then it's a competitor to the high-priced power boxes, which is what consoles will be if that's the case. Except for Nintendo. But like, they can't avoid pricing pressure much longer, and the tariff refunds are slow, and the Iran war is driving up oil for everything, and in a couple of years, maybe China attacks Taiwan and ruins the global economy on semiconductors. So there's a lot of things that could happen between now and then, whenever the Steam Machine launches or the next gen consoles do, and that has me concerned. But well, whatever happens, you'll hear about it on SunnyRedemption Sailing, your bi-weekly voyage for PS3 gaming news. So when might you be free next week? Because I'm heading up on the 10th and staying until the 22nd or so. 21st, probably.
I might actually be free at some point before then, unless, again, I get asked to work extra. My work week this week is a lot lighter, so maybe Friday, actually.
Well, this is just too stupid not to include in the video.
Yeah. Okay. I'm assuming we'll have to get up closer, like up here or something.
Who? Poison Ivy?
Oh.
We're not even scratching it! It's too strong! It has growths on it, like on the vines! Shoot it! All of them!
The head is done!
Oh, target the weak points!
Yep.
Very innovative boss fight. No one has ever come up with this. Of course, the boss always has to spawn ads. That's the annoying thing about boss fights for me. It's never actually you and the boss mano a mano. I understand why from a gameplay standpoint. It's just always annoying to have to deal with the boss's friends because the boss is too cowardly.
Okay, that direct hit comes down.
Got him.
Your way, but I totally understand if you can't get me, because that is like a one-hit attack if he breathes on you like that.
Yep. Guess we gotta head out the length of this game somehow.
Oh. There we go.
Shoot those scumbags!
They're protecting it.
Complete overkill, but that's perfectly fine.
Yep.
Target the overgrowth.
Oh no, come on! Another boss fight cliche. Of sending flying missiles at you. Could they seriously not have picked anything more thematically appropriate for Black Ops?
Bursts are gone.
God damn! Still too strong!
You can't escape!
They hit me.
Alright, no, Mr. Gentle Ninja. I'm bringing out the auto shotgun for you. Ah! Okay. For some reason I thought this would come later in the game. Maybe because I thought, oh, there's no way that a game that's this fine-ish can turn this dumb this quickly.
Well, we already had a couple pretty dumb fights.
But like,
It's not that surprising.
this dumb.
Not gonna let you.
Yeah.
Like, fighting giant plants dumb. I thought that was towards the end with the giant human boss, which I'm sure we're gonna encounter pretty soon.
Oh, picked the wrong time to reload. Go.
The final hit.
We got it!
Doing fair damage.
There we go.
Let me guess. I'm sorry your mental projection Frank Woods is in another castle. Well, there it is. The dumbest moment in Call of Duty history so far.
Woods? I'm not worth it, David. I'm a fucking monster. What?
Oh, and also you're dead.
No. Raul Menendez tricked you. You would never kill my father. You loved him. Menendez wanted you to suffer.
No, I am your father. This is not.
You gotta forgive yourself.
It's good advice, kid. You first.
Not even on the level of you already have. Okay, then.
Bioweapon is called the Cradle.
Didn't we already know this last game with the cradle? I don't get this plot. So stupid.
would be my next day.
Yeah,
But
Friday
I'd be
could work
around.
for a live stream of Kiln.
Yeah. Okay.
Or Call of
I guess
Duty
we
or
can-
something. Yeah, just something completely casual, just not even bothering with whatever. Unless there's something monumental that happens in the world of gaming news, which it might. This
Possible.
one will definitely be more casual. And then, you know, Forza Horizon 6 comes out
very close.
the 19th. I can't wait. If again, I am gonna have my Xbox and PC brought up just in case you're available close to that, so we can try to live stream that. Because I'm really hoping that my live stream technology stack won't fail.
What's the early access date? Is that the 19th or is it before that? I thought it was before that.
It is before
I'll
that.
be getting it early
Oh,
access.
you are okay.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Oh, yeah, I always do.
Oh,
I mean, I
well.
mostly buy the I buy the upgrade bundle mostly just for the DLC that they're going to put out. But it's like, hey, I'm also getting early access. Why not? Okay, so it's May 15th is the early access date.
Yeah. Okay. So I had thought that you were gonna do that later, and so was going to do a couple of separate videos. A couple of separate videos, but okay, yeah. So I can probably do just like the first half as my single player impressions, and then include the live stream.
Yeah,
so
real quick, so we can plan that out a bit. I'm pulling up my work schedule because I should have it through next week. Because that's very soon. Let me see when I'm working.
Well, it's 2 weeks from now. Oh wait, no,
not even. It's 11 days.
Oh right, with the early. Duh, I was still thinking about the 19th. But yeah.
Oh, unfortunately, that's my weekend to work. So I probably won't make it on till the 17th.
That's fine. Works for me.
Forza. Okay, but that'll give you a whole weekend to play it. And
yeah.
I'll probably squeeze in a little bit of time to play it, but not much.
Sounds good. This is my most anticipated game of the year so far, because it's been 5 years almost since we got a Forza Horizon game. And while I ended up not liking 5 nearly as much as 3, but a bit more than 4, with 1 and then 2 above 3 a bit, I love this series, and so we'll absolutely try anything new from them. And again, the more focused progression is very promising sounding. So far this year, I've gotten to feel a bit more hope with the new reign. It's not like, oh, Xbox is saved, but Asha Sharma at least has a vision that makes some degree of sense.
And they're making good PR moves off of that. Like, there hasn't been much... Like, the moves that they made that haven't been just PR have been good, too, but they haven't done, like, anything... Like, outside of the Call of Duty out of Game Pass stuff, it hasn't been anything, like, monumental.
And I don't think that got a huge reaction PR-wise, either.
Yeah, like, I'm not expecting much. Like, maybe they'll have something interesting around Summer Game Fest. But a lot of that stuff was probably locked in place before any of this leadership shakeup. So maybe there's something by the summer, like something else interesting that maybe the old regime wouldn't have done. But
like expanded backwards compatibility was in the pipeline already, so that's probably what they're going to mention at some point.
I hope so.
And again, would be really nice if they got some of the smaller Activision games, if not the older Call of Duty games. Like, they have been into talks about relisting old Marvel games. I think we discussed this before, but still.
Yeah.
It's a very exciting time, for sure. And again, you'll hear about it on SunnyRedemption Sailing. So thank you for sailing with us. Have a good one.
All right, later. See ya.
Bye-bye.